another video. Today I'm going to be doing a Korean style stew. I'm not too sure what name it's called in Korean, plus I didn't really want to butcher any names, so I'm just going to call it a Korean style stew. I probably made it like an English version, so a lot of Koreans, if they watch this, will be very unimpressed, but hey ho. So my last video I showed you how to butcher the chicken. So the first part of the recipe, I'll bring in the chicken bones and carcass that was left over from the previous how to butcher a chicken video. What I do with this, it's up to you. You can roast it in the oven until the bones are quite dark, but modern day air fryer is the way to go for me. So all my chicken bones straight in the air fryer. Doesn't have to be too neat, just dump them in, make sure you can at least, they're not overlapping too much, which they will because it's a whole chicken. That goes in the air fryer for on max crisp, because you want to get it as dark as possible. I normally give it 15 minutes. And then in the meantime, while that's roasted in there, obviously I've part prepped all these vegetables, which I'll show you at a later part in this video. While that's in there roasting, you can take your actual chicken for the recipe. So I've got 2 breasts still with the skin on, thighs, drumsticks still with the skin on, all deboned. I know most Korean recipes do have the chicken with the bone still in, but I prefer it's a lot easier to eat with the bone out. This one is the thigh and the drumstick together. I just butchered it all down as one whole piece. So because we're stewing, I don't really want the soggy chicken skin inside of the recipe. So all I'm going to do, chicken on, the skin, just peel off. Fairly easy, don't have to be too pretty with it, just pull it off. And then put that here, and then with the chicken skin, I'll lay down on a bit of greaseproof paper on a tray, and we'll make some crispy chicken skin to either eat as a snack with the stew, or you can crumble it on top to add another bit of crunch and a strong chicken flavour. Very unhealthy, but it's a good comfort food and it saves you throwing away any ingredients. So yeah, that one pulled off as well, laid out on the baking tray. The thigh and drum piece, same again, chuck your hand behind it and just keep pulling away, and it should come off quite easily, just like it's like taking off a pair of socks. Keep pulling, you shouldn't get any meat come with it, it should just come off as one piece like so. All the little bits of fat that are still there, that's all flavouring your stew, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. That's another de-skinned piece. Lay that out on your greaseproof. Then with the thighs that have already been separated, same thing again, skin off. Lay down on the baking paper. Last one, skin off. On the baking paper. So now we've got all our chicken skin separated. Just give my hand a quick wash. What I do is with the skins, I'll get a little bit of salt, nice little bit of salt on them. No oil, because the chicken skin naturally has fat in it anyway. You'll see a lot of it on the tray when we take them out. Plenty of salt, so it gives it that sort of naughty, indulgent feeling. They can go in the oven. Chuck them in the oven. I just put them on 180 on a fan oven and almost just forget about them. Roughly takes about half an hour once the oven's up to temperature, but just keep an eye. Next, you want to prepare your chicken for the actual stew itself. Generally what I do is I'll half the breast, and then I'll just chop it into random sized chunks on the angle. Not too thin, not too thick. About half a centimetre thickness, half a centimetre, 1 centimetre. Same here. Doesn't have to be too precious, it's going in the stew anyway, so a lot of it will break down on an angle into nice chunks. And that's that. Get rid of my plate. So from a full chicken, after deboning and all the skin removed, we have from a full chicken that costs £4.10 with a little bit of work done to it, we've ended up with 755 grams of actual meat. Try and buy 755 grams of pre-prepared meat from the supermarket. Yeah, you're not going to, unless it's mince. So yeah, with this one, all I do is there's a technique called velveting. So when you go to the Chinese and you buy a chicken curry, the thin slices of the chicken meat always have that the texture that you can't recreate. It's like you try cut it how they do it, boil it, but all they do is a technique called velveting, which involves bicarbonate of soda. So I'll do that now. Just for that amount of meat, I'd do about a teaspoon of bicarb, roughly. So just sprinkle a teaspoon over. Don't worry, this does get washed off. So a teaspoon of bicarb in. Mix it through with your hands. You will notice a smell coming from the chicken, and the chicken will feel a little bit sticky, but that's just the bicarb going to work. And all it does is it gets in the grains of the meat, and it just opens them out, and it theoretically just tenderizes the meat. You can do it with any meat as long as it's cut thin enough. So yeah, I like to do this because it, some of the bits of meat in the stew will break down, some will be still soft but held together quite nicely. So you get a nice mix at the end of the stewing process. So that's all fully mixed in now. Quickly wash my hands. So yeah, you can smell, not an odd smell to the chicken, but it doesn't quite smell like raw chicken does, if that makes sense. I'm just going to cover this in cling film while it does its magic. It normally only takes about half an hour. So cling film the chicken. I'm going to pop it in the fridge just to let it do its trick. Right, And then, so we've got what, 5 minutes left on the air fryer. All the vegetables I prepped here: carrots, potatoes, onions, garlic, ginger. Ginger, I don't know, roughly an inch worth of ginger, just over. A whole head of garlic, a whole bulb. All the trimmings, not for the ginger, but for the garlic, the onions, and the carrot, has all gone into this. Keep all of the trimmings, all the peelings from your carrots, all your little bits of garlic from the top, because that'll go in with our chicken for the stock. So I will get my stock pot ready for when the chicken's done. Right, stock pot. All your veggies go in. I've had some carrots that were going bad in the fridge, and I'm not going to use them, so I give them a good wash, trimmed off the bad parts, and I've chucked that in with the stock. Normally, you wouldn't put anything red onion in a stock pot because it will turn your stock like a purpley colour. But because it's a Korean stew and we're going to be using Gochujang, it'll be bright red anyway, or like a deep red colour. So we got that ready. I'll put a full kettle of boiling water straight in, and then I'll boil one more full kettle. I believe it's about 3 litres, and I'll come back to you once the chicken bones are finished roasting. Right, so we've got roughly just under 3 minutes left on the chicken in the air fryer. The 15-minute timer did sound, so I opened it, I turned over the chicken carcass and put it back in for another 5 on the same max crisp setting, which is 240 degrees. In the meantime, I've got my water and all my vegetable trimmings for the stock in a pan. I've boiled 2 kettles worth of water, which I've probably got approximately just over 2 litres of water in there. The remaining litre is still in the kettle for when it boils down a little bit, just to keep it topped up roughly to the 2 litre mark. So that's coming up now. We will add the chicken once the timer has sounded. In the meantime, I'll give my chopping board a quick rinse, and I'll flip the chopping board over, as I always cut raw meat on one side and anything vegetable based on the other. I don't have enough space to hold numerous different types of chopping boards, so that's the safest way of doing it. I always give it a thorough wash in between. Chuck that underneath just to stop my board from moving about too much. So now I'm on the vegetable side of the board. What I've already done is I peeled my onions. Normally it'd all be white onions, so 2 or 3 medium-sized white onions, but I only had these really little onions available, and plus I had a red onion that needs using up, so I'm putting red onion in this one. You don't have to be too precious, you're only cooking for yourself at home. All I do for chopping these, I have half of my onion, probably 2 cuts lengthways, and then just rough. It's going in a stew, you don't want it to be too fine and you not get bits of onion in it, so generally that's what I'll do. Two cuts, and then just some rough cubes, don't have to be too precious. And then the white onions, put to the side for a second, get my red onion in the bowl that's already chopped. White onion, very similar sized pieces, this one only time in half, I'll probably just do 2 cuts. As long as they're rough medium sized cubes, that's all you need to worry about really. At the end of the day, it's all going to be cooked down for a long period of time anyway, so that's done. All ready for cooking off. Oh, there's the beep. just before I do take out that chicken and get it into the stock, my carrots, I've already chopped most of them already because you don't want to see me chopping a bunch of carrots. I generally get the loose carrots because you can get the bigger size carrot. The four large carrots here. I prefer it than getting a big bag of carrots because you get a lot of small ones and they're no good. So all I do is peel it, chop them into whole bits like this, half it, and then on an angle, I'll chop the carrot in half. So I'll just do that with all my carrots. I'm not weighing anything today as our calorie count is put on the back burner because we're getting over a cold. So just nice and simple, easy recipe. All roughly in that triangle shape on an angle. So that's all our carrots done. Same with the potatoes. Got a whole bag of baby potatoes. I bought a kilo because I want to make it super filling. Same again, in half on an angle. In half. Oh, that one's got a little bit of a green patch, cut that off on an angle. In half on an angle. I try and get the cleanest looking baby potatoes. These ones are a bit more pricier, about, I don't know, 60p more than a cheaper bag, but you get a better quality potato that holds together and soaks up a bit more of the flavour in the stew. So they're all cut on an angle, ready to go. I've got my various spices ready to go as well. In the meantime, I'll grab, so we've got the roasted chicken out. On the other side, you can see it's all roasted from that 15-minute roast on Max Crisp earlier. You want more colour on your chicken, the tastier your stock's going to be, essentially. So all I do with that, grab myself some tongs, grab my chicken carcass and all the bones and chuck it into my vegetable stock that's already boiling, with all the offcuts of vegetables. Tip in any fat or juices that comes out in the boiling process. Then what I'll do, put a little bit of the kettle water in the bottom of the pan, just enough to come over the grills in the bottom of the air fryer, and then I'll pop it back in the air fryer. And I'll put it on air fry for about 6 minutes, and that'll loosen off all the bits that I want stuck to it, so you get that extra little bit of flavour out. In the meantime, while that's cracking away, in my little mini blender, you can either crush, grate, or however way you want to do it, but I'm lucky enough I've got one of these. All of my garlic cloves from a full bowl. My pieces of ginger, I just roughly slice. Don't have to be perfect with it. It's all going to get long slow cooked anyway, so it'll disappear pretty much. All my ginger in there. Quick blend. If we can get the blender in. Quick blend. Lovely. That's my ginger and my garlic mix, all blended. Happy days. If you have some big, like, there's a few little bits of that are a bit bigger than others. It doesn't really matter when it's in a stew. By the time it's all cooked down anyway, you don't get any harshness on the garlic or the ginger. You'll get a bit of a fiery flavour in the broth, but that's what you want with this style of stew. So what I'll do now is I'll wait for that to finish beeping, scrape down the inside and add it to my stock, and I'll come back to you when I start actually cooking the stew. I'll already have strained off the stock, but you don't need need me to show you how to strain off a stock, just do it through a sieve over a vessel that's big enough to hold the liquid. Throw away the bones. I suggest putting them in a plastic bag before putting them in your bin, or if you've got a food bin, even better, put it in your food bin. But yeah, I'll come back to you when we're at the next stage and when we're putting the actual stew together. So yeah, I'll see you then. Right, I've given the chicken a good wash from the bicarb that we put on it earlier. I've strained off the chicken stock, so now we've got a full pan of strained chicken stock. You only have to cook it for about half an hour, 45 minutes, just to get a little bit of flavour out. And we're just starting to construct the stew now before letting it simmer for most of the day. I normally do about 2.5 hours on like a medium heat once it's all cooked off. So to start that, I'll add just any plain oil you've got. Give your pan a good, either a drizzle if you do have it in a bottle, or if it's in a spray bottle, just give it a good few sprays and let that come up to temperature. And we're going to be adding the onions, our garlic and ginger mix, and the drained off, washed chicken that had bicarb on it. I've just got it draining now. I'll give it a good wash with cold water to get that bicarb off. So as this pan's coming up to temperature, it's pretty much there now. I'll add the onions first. Give it a good stir. And just an update on the chicken skin. I had it roasted in the oven, and now we've got these nice pieces of chicken skin that have been salted. Just take them out and put them on a bit of kitchen towel just to drain off the excess bits of fat, and they crisp up nicely. Really delicious flavour. So these are sautéing down. Meanwhile, while that's sautéing down, I've got a fresh pot of this gochujang. They sell it in Asda. Don't go to an Asian shop to buy gochujang, because in the supermarkets you can get a better deal. In Asda currently, this 500 gram tub of one of the official brands of gochujang is only like £2.40. But if you look in their spice section, make sure you go to the Asian section of the supermarket, because if you look in their spice section, they've got their own branded in a jar, and you only get like 150 grams and they charge you £2 for it, and it's not even like the official sort of Korean branded one, when you can get 500 grams for an extra 40p. So that's one recommendation. It's a very unique flavour. It's kind of a funky, deep, I don't know, it's like a chili, but almost like a roasted paprika taste almost as well. It's just a really deep chili flavour. It is quite salty, so it can taste quite salty if you're not used to it anyway. And also the other ingredient I put in it is this, which is, you do have to go to an Asian shop for this, because I don't think they sell it in the supermarket, but I believe it's similar to miso, so they do sell miso in the supermarket. But if you can go to an Asian shop and get this is the official sort of Korean. It's a fermented soybean paste, so it's a really umami flavour, really rich. When I first heard about it, I wasn't too sure if I was going to like it, if I'm honest. But when I tried it, as soon as get used to the initial surprise of the flavour, it's actually quite nice. So yeah, cooking this down, got some nice caramelisation on the onions. Then I'll hit it with the garlic and ginger that we blended earlier. That all goes in when all the flavours start coming out and you start smelling all the aromas of the fresh ingredients. I wouldn't bother using ground ginger or anything. You may as well just spend a little bit of money and make a nice a nice broth by using proper garlic, proper ginger, sorry. So that's all cooking away. Instantly I can smell the ginger. Not that you probably can see much because it's steaming like mad, but you'll see more when it calms down in a second. So yeah, we've done that. Then I'll hit it with our chicken. Don't have to fry off the garlic and ginger for too long. And to be honest, you don't need too much colour on the chicken because you're boiling it down anyway and you're going to be stewing it. You've already got a nice chicken stock. So there we go, the steam's calming down a little bit now, so you can see into the pan. Got all the ginger, onion. You see all the caramelisation on the bottom. It's caught a little bit, but it's not burnt, so I won't worry. And if you're using a complete non-stick pan, it'll be perfect for you. So just try and get some searing on the outside of this meat. In the meantime, grab your gochujang paste, which I've got here, and all I'll do, use the bowl that the onions were left in. This is one of my pots that's nearly empty now, so I'll do one heat. Oh, mucky pup, I've got it on the side. One heat tablespoon, and then that's a tablespoon and a half in there. That's that pot finished. I'll just grab my fresh one out. And then I'm going to be adding about 3 tablespoons in total, so I'll do another heat to one. Sounds a lot, but it's surprisingly not as spicy as you think. For this sort of stew, some people use, I believe it's called gochujang, which is, I think it's the same chili that they use for gochujang paste, but it's the powdered version and you can get coarse or fine. Generally, I just use extra gochujang because it's a nightmare to try and find that chili powder, that type of chili anyway. And then to that, I'll add, give this another stir. Perfect. Take that off the heat for a second while I clean up my mess. Then to the gochujang paste that you've already spooned out, I'll grab my bean paste and I'll add a generous tablespoon, tablespoon and a half. It has got quite a funk to it, so, well, not a funk as such, it's quite rich. So in that amount of stock liquid, it should season it quite nicely. You probably won't have to add much salt or anything. It already does the work for you. And then after that, I'll add a couple of tablespoons. Oh, if I can find a tablespoon. A couple of tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. And then I go easy on this. 1 tablespoon of fish sauce. Fish sauce I just got from Asda, just that Dragon brand one. Rice vinegar, also from Asda, that sort of brand. And then now we got these ingredients weighed out. Put your mix back on the heat, and it would have loosened up a bit of the stuff on the bottom of the pan that originally started sticking slightly. Get that slowly coming back up to the bubble. It's partly seared off. I'm not too fussed about getting colour on the actual chicken because it cooks down and goes tender anyway, from part of the velveting process and just from it being a stew. When you get to this point, I'll take my spatula, clean off my tablespoon, and then I'll hit the broth with the ingredients we just weighed out. This is where the flavour just completely changes, and just gives it that Korean element. May not be authentic, but using authentic style ingredients, and it's just my twist on it. There are dishes that are very similar to this that are Korean. Give that a good mix. Get that flavour going through that. You see the redness instantly working. You can smell the soybean paste. So now we've got this nice deep red colour on our chicken. And then I give it like probably 30 seconds to toast slightly on the bottom of the pan. And then all I do after that, add the carrots that we prepared earlier. Might not have enough room for these potatoes actually. Mix through the carrots. And then time to see if we've got enough room for these potatoes or not. And then add the potatoes that we prepared earlier. I don't think we're going to have enough room. Oh no. Potatoes in. Obviously it's harder to mix now because there's no liquid in there. And then literally all I do after that is that lovely stock we had bubbling away for 45 minutes. That can get tipped in. And then all I'll do is I'll keep that little bit of stock. When it's bubbling down, I can add more to it. All of the red paste will start mixing with the stock. Like so. And then bring it up to the boil. And as soon as it's at the boil, reduce the heat and just let it bubble away. I normally do for a couple of hours, but at this stage you could also put it in the slow cooker. So if you've prepared all the stock and everything already and the gochujang, you can literally combine it all in the slow cooker at the start of the day, put it on a medium to high heat throughout the whole day, and by the time you get home you'll have a nice stew. So yeah, I'm just going to let this bubble down for a couple of hours, and I'll come back for a short snippet of a video to end the video when it's at desired consistency and it's boiled down, because it looks completely different than it does now once it's boiled down. And just as a repeat, I will be using this stock. As soon as it's boiled down a little bit, I'll add a bit of that just so I use all the stock up. But yeah, the rest will be updated later once it's had time to bubble down for a while. Right, we're back after a couple of hours of bubbling down. Actually, it's been more like 3 hours because I went out on a walk because it's a nice day today. So I've got it on, I had it on a heat of 2, which is very, very low, not enough to even boil. And then when I got back, I just chucked it up to 7 or 8 and had it on a bit more of a bubble for, I don't know, about 45 minutes to an hour, just to get some more, just so it reduces a little bit. I added the leftover bit of chicken stock that was in the bowl, I've given it a taste. It's got quite a strong depth of flavour. You can taste the bean paste that's been added to it. You can also taste the gochujang. It's got quite a kick to it. I'd say on like a heat scale, probably more towards medium. If you can deal with a bit of a kick, you can deal with this. If you want it a little less spicy, just put 1 tablespoon less of gochujang in it, but it still will have a mild kick, or maybe reduce the ginger slightly that we blended earlier on. To finish it off, you have a choice whether you want a little bit of sweetness in there. Sometimes, like say Koreans in their stews, they will add say honey or the equivalent sort of syrup to sweeten it up. Or if you counting your calories, you can always add a bit of sweetener, which is generally what I would do. Add just 2 sweetener tablets of some plant-based sweetener is generally the best one because it doesn't affect the taste too much. So yeah, now this has been bubbling down for a while, it's good enough to go, ready to serve. What I'll do is I'll put a portion in a bowl so you can actually see it presented in a bowl. I'm not going to put any spring onions on top because I'm not eating yet, because it's not tea time yet. That'll be for later on. So that's the sort of thing, way it's looking. Some of the chicken's broken down. That's all the dark meat that's broken down. Potatoes have stayed together. Generally, you can tell the broth is rich just by looking at it. I generally don't thicken up the broth. It's a little bit thinner than you would have like a traditional English stew, let's say. But generally, I will not thicken it up because it's quite a soupy sort of dish anyway. So yeah, there we are. There's the portion. There's the portion of the actual stew itself. Looking really, really rich, really deep flavour. Very simple to do. Obviously, there's a little bit of work with the stock. If you're not making the stock, you can just go heavy on some chicken stock cubes. One thing I didn't show in the video earlier is, as it was boiling down, I did add two cheap chicken stock cubes, just to give it that little bit of extra. To be fair, doesn't even need salt or pepper. Everything's working as it should. The paste is giving it the depth and a little bit of saltiness. The gochujang is giving it the spiciness and a bit of earthiness. As obviously with the potatoes as well, potatoes will give it some earthiness. Chicken flavours come through nicely. Yeah, no, it's good to go and eat. Yeah, so that's the dish complete. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe if you want. Leave me a comment if you think it looks good or if you want to try it. Also, you can leave a comment of suggested things that you'd want me to try and cook myself, and I'll try and get around to doing some of them if anyone suggests anything. But yeah, that's it for now. Thank you for watching. Cheers.